Hello there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my top 10 list of Linux games in 2014. So this list will be in no particular order because I'm very bad at making my mind up with these sort of things. I just wanted to put a list out for you guys of what you should buy in the near future, and most games will probably be on Steam. Most of these games also have been released in 2014, but I thought I'd chuck a couple of them in that weren't actually released in 2014, just because of games that I've continuously played on Linux and spent quite a lot of hours on, and so on and so forth. And so it begins with number 1. Okay, so with the first one, I thought I'd choose 2 games because they sort of are the same game, being Borderlands 2 and Borderlands: A Pre-Sequel. So this game is like one of the first AAA titles that was released this year. Well, Borderlands 2 was, but it was a very popular game, and it was very, very good to see it actually come out onto Linux. You know, such a popular game coming out, and I sort of wanted to start playing a Borderlands game anyway. I had it on my PS3 for a long time, and I never really dwelled into it. I mean, I've had it on my Steam list for a while, to be honest, so in the near future I will definitely be playing a lot more of these games because they're very fun. I love the art style on them, and to be honest, a lot of the times they do tend to show up very cheap on Steam, whether it be on a sale or, you know, full price. It tends to be quite cheap, around £20 or something like that. But it's definitely 2 games that you should check out in the near future because, like I said as well, they were released finally on Linux, and Pre-Sequel actually released on its actual release date on Linux, which is also it shows how far Linux has come in gaming. In 2014 alone, it's been great. So, number 1, Borderlands 2 and Borderlands Pre-Sequel. Okay, so moving on to number 2. Number 2 will be another AAA title which was released quite a few years ago, to be honest, but it was released on Linux this year, being Dead Island. So Dead Island is a very good game. It's a zombie game, free roaming, kill a lot of zombies, multiplayer, co-op, hashtag, so on and so forth. But it was on my Steam's list for like a long time, and I was just like, every time I started Steam I kept trying to run it, and it would always be like, oh, it's the executable is missing, and I was just like, And one time I tried it and it finally worked, and I was really happy to see that it ran it pretty well in Linux, to be honest, as should be expected because it's native and stuff. But yeah, Dead Island is also similar to Borderlands, and yeah, it's cheap. You know, you can pick this up for a few quid on the Steam sales, so definitely keep your eye out for Dead Island because it will definitely be a great game to play with your friends. And hopefully we may get Dead Island 2 release on Linux. Who knows?
That's awesome.
Let's hope for the best. And that's it for number 2.
Okay guys, so in at number 3 we have the game The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. So this was released literally in November, so not even that long ago, and I only just recently got into this game as it was released on PlayStation Plus. So I got it on my Vita and my PS4, and it's fantastic. It's basically a randomly generated action RPG shooter, which is a roguelike game as well. So when you die, you sort of die, and then you respawn and start the whole game again. But it gives you so many abilities throughout the levels, and it's just a different experience each time you play the game, and it's just mental, and I highly recommend it to anyone who just likes these sort of games. Just dwell into it, give it a couple of goes, and I reckon you'll enjoy it. I mean, right now it's £8 on Steam, or you can get the original Binding of Isaac for a couple of quid. But I recommend getting Rebirth because it's got a lot more stuff to it.
Okay, so number 4 is quite a popular one, being Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I was waiting for a long time for this game to come out onto Linux natively. I kept checking out and typing it into Google to see whether it had a confirmed release date, because I heard rumours that it was coming out. And to be honest, with Counter-Strike Source being released on Linux, it sort of made sense for Global Offensive to come out sooner or later. And finally it did, and to be honest, it runs very, very good. Like, I love it. It runs great. I've had a couple of problems in the past, but they seem to have been ironed out with a few updates. And again, with all the other games, it's very cheap on Steam. £3 on Steam sales, or I think it's about £10 or something like that, full price. But it's definitely worth a game to play. It's always, the servers are always populated with people. Every now and then there's a few hackers, but I think they seem to have been ironing them out. But You know, that's the case with Counter-Strike. Hopefully they get rid of them soon, but it's definitely a game you should play, guys. It's great fun, it keeps you coming back, and it's just all round great. Okay, so number 5 goes to a game that I haven't really too many hours into, but I really want to dwell into in the future. It's Starbound, and this game basically looks like it has a lot of potential. I loved Terraria. Love Terraria. I put so many hours into that game, and hopefully one day that'll come into Linux, but push that away for now. We got Starbound. Starbound has it looks like it has so much more to it than what Terraria has. That's exactly why I want to put some hours into the game. I think my friends have it, so you can play multiplayer with them guys as well, all your friends and stuff like that. It seems a lot harder than Terraria. Like, whenever I've played the game, I seem to have died within the first few minutes, but yeah, it looks a lot more graphically better, to be honest, than what Terraria is. But yeah, it's like a completely different game. It looks similar in the way of the game style and stuff like that, but it seems like a completely different game once you play it. But yeah, it's definitely a game you should look into, guys. This is also a game you can pick up for cheap on Steam.
Alright guys, so moving on to number 6. This one we have Metro Redux, which includes 2 games actually, which is Metro 2033 and Metro Last Light. But they've both been revamped and they look a lot better and they're optimised a lot better. Sadly they weren't actually released on the release date for Linux, which it was mentioned that they were going to release it, but they didn't say much about release date. But it's finally come to Linux in the last month of 2014. And it runs really good, and I'm really impressed. It's a AAA game, it's an apocalyptic game, and there's a lot of horror elements to it. It's very atmospheric. It's a very, very good game, basically. So, if you're into your first-person shooters, I highly recommend this game. It's a good AAA title, especially on Linux, and it runs very good if you've got a good computer. But yeah, Metro 2033 and Last Light, I really need to complete them games, so yeah, definitely look out for them, guys. You tend to get them cheap, about 20 quid at the cheapest at the moment, but definitely keep your eye out for them.
Next up, number 7 is Ollie Ollie. This is a game that I put a lot of hours into on my PS Vita, and it's a very good game, to be honest. It doesn't look all that great, but it's one of them games that you need to dwell into to basically try it out, and you probably need a controller for the game, really. Like, I've tried it with my keyboard, I made a video for it, and my joypad wasn't working at the time, so maybe you can get it working, but it's a very cool game. It's a lot harder than it looks as well. Like, you have to put a lot into it to actually start doing very well on it. But I definitely loved it on my Vita. I completed all levels. Still to complete the pro levels, but I'm working on it. And highly looking forward to Ollie Ollie 2, which will hopefully come out on Linux as well. So definitely keep your eye out for this game, guys. If you've got a joypad, it'll probably work much better. But yeah, Ollie Ollie is great. Okay, so next up is a game that wasn't actually released this year, being Killing Floor. It's a game that, like I said at the start, I've spent a hell of a lot of hours on this game, and it is totally worth getting this game. Whether it be £3 on the Steam sale or £15 at full price, this game is great, especially when you're playing with friends. You know, you can do so much fun things. There's many weapons to play with, many zombies to kill, and it's just absolutely mental. And if you don't know about it, Killing Floor 2 is also coming out in next year, actually, so hopefully that will come to Linux. I don't see why it won't, but it is a really, really good game. You can unlock a lot of weapons with games that you have, like other games you can have on Steam. Like, I had Dwarves, so I unlocked like this amazing axe that basically sends like any zombie flying. Like, it's incredible. All my friends are just like, what the hell just happened? And I'm just there running with my axe, destroying everything in my path. It's a great game to play. Make sure your friends have it as well, but even then, it will probably still be a great game to play. Okay, so it's another game that wasn't actually released this year. And it's another game that I played a lot on my PS Vita. I actually platinumed it on my PS Vita, being Hotline Miami. This is a very, very, very good game. It looks, well, to be honest, when you first look at it, it's just like, what the hell is this thing? But then you start playing it, and it's just fast-paced, crazy. You just destroy everything in your path with your guns and stuff like that. it's just mental. And Hotline Miami 2 is coming out early 2015, and I am really looking forward to get this game. I will definitely be pre-ordering it when I get the chance to do so. And I will be playing the game like hell, completing it, and probably playing it again on the PS Vita. But yeah, it's definitely a game you should have a look into, and I suggest wearing headphones for it as well, because the soundtrack on it is incredible, like very good. Definitely worth a listen, definitely worth a play. Look into this, guys, if you have your time. Okay, so number 10, last but not least, Interstellar Marines. This game is in early alpha access, or early access, or whatever you want to call it. Played it quite a bit, and it is a very decent game for the fact that it is still in development, heavily in development. It looks amazing. I've tried it online. It's brilliant. The single player is scary. Like, I've jumped about 5 times now playing it alone, and it is a very good game considering it is in early access. I got it for very cheap off a certain website, but I don't remember what website it was. Keep an eye on it on Steam. It may still get discounted. But yeah, this is definitely a game you should keep your eye on, whether you want to buy an early access game or not, because it still may have bugs. So if you do get this, be very aware that it's in early access, but it will be very good game to keep an eye on for the near future. Okay guys, so that does it for my top 10 list. Like I said, it wasn't in any particular order, so don't take that into mind. I thought I'd have a couple of noticeable mentions as well for a few games that haven't been released yet onto Linux but have been confirmed to be released. So the first one being Project Cars. This game is currently in early access, or well, actually I think it has been released, sorry, on Windows. I've had the game for about 3 years now and been following it a lot as it's been updated, and it's just amazing. It looks beautiful, and I can't wait to actually play this on Linux. Hopefully with my Logitech G25 running. And the second game to be mentioned will be Outlast. This is a scary ass game, man. Like, I completed this on Windows, and it was a great game. The atmosphere on it is incredible. It keeps you scared on the edge of your seat for the whole game. So to see this release on Linux will be great. I've currently got it downloaded on my Steam list, but it's not letting me play it sadly yet. So hopefully they'll unlock it soon for me to just unleash hell. Okay, so last honourable mention will be Bioshock Infinite. This has just recently been announced for Linux, and this is another great news game to actually be released onto Linux because it's such a big game. It's fantastic. I completed it on my PlayStation 3, spent a few hours on it on my PC, so hopefully they do a good port for this. I don't see why they wouldn't. It's a great game. Hopefully it will be released very early in 2015. So that's it for my best Linux games of 2014, guys. Hopefully you may agree with my list. Feel free to disagree with my list all you want in the comment section, as you may have a game that's in your top 10 or your favourite game of the year, and I haven't put it in my video, so make sure you leave a comment for other people to see, maybe, you know, because you may disagree with my list completely. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Keep an eye out for these games on Steam or GOG.com or Dejura. You never know what site to bloody look at anymore. Jesus Christ, they're all over the place. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Rate and subscribe for future Linux content, and peace out, guys. Keep up the support in 2015. See you in a bit.